on Dr. Ambedkar's role in nation building or Dr. Ambedkar's contribution in national construction. There has always been a feeling whenever I meet a couple of people other than those who are not engaged in Dalit discourse, they would certainly say that Thorat, your institute and you people work on the role of Dr. Ambedkar in the upliftment of Dalit and women and similar group. But Dr. Ambedkar has contributed in all issues that concerns nation, right from the beginning. So therefore, Dr. Ambedkar should not be presented as somebody who has done outstanding work for the upliftment of the poor and the marginalized, but his role in the nation building, which doesn't relate to Dalit, but relate to the national issue, should also be brought out. He was a national figure. He was a patriot of the highest order, and those aspects should be brought out. He has been honored with Bharat Ratna. He has been elected as the greatest person of India after Nehru, after Gandhi, and this is not only for his contribution for the welfare of the marginalized, but in the nation building in general. Therefore, we organized this conference. In fact, I must say with you that about 20 years before, I had organized a conference and it has been published in the form of a book, Ambedkar in Retrospect, Essays in Society, Economy and Politics. And large number of aspects of his contributions are there. Very celebrated writers have contributed on most of the aspects. But the difference between that book and that theme and the theme here is very important. There is a shade of difference, but that difference is very, very important. And I would therefore urge upon the participant who are experts in their own field to keep this in mind. Whenever we talk about Ambedkar on any specific issue, say issue of reorganization of the state or caste or concept of nationalism or many other issues, there are two aspects to it. One aspect is, of course, his view. He is thinking about the issue, his solution. One of the important difference between Dr. Ambedkar and others is this, that he suggested solution to many problems of India by undertaking a very deep study, detailed study, one could say almost a research, and understood the genesis of the problem, understood the causes of the problem, and based on that understanding gave solution. There are many books of his, Reorganization of the State, Thoughts on Pakistan, Communal Deadlock and Way to Solve It, Annihilation of Caste, Who Were Shudras, Who Were Untouchables, name it. There are all books, and these all books are in the same mode, that he present the problem, look at the causes and give the alternative solution. Even if it is the issue of democracy, he prefers certain form of democracy, parliamentary form of democracy, and emphasize it against the presidential form and any other form. But at the same time, I have not seen anybody else other than Dr. Ambedkar who also pointed out the difficulties of putting democracy into practice. Identify the causes, identify the obstacle. Unless you overcome those obstacles, you cannot have successful democracy. So this is the quality of Dr. Ambedkar, that he was futuristic, he knew what are the problems and he gave solution. And therefore, whenever we are in crisis, we only remember Ambedkar, nobody else. Yeah, if there is a Kashmir issue, immediately there is an article by Valerian Rodrick. What was Ambedkar's contribution? When there is reorganization of the state, there is immediately an article. Why Telangana is necessary, why Uttarakhand is necessary, why Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh is necessary. So in many of the aspects, we remember Ambedkar because Dr. Ambedkar was the only person who understood the difficulties and gave an alternatives. And there are many of his writings which are neglected. For example, the question of majority and minority, the problem that we face now, the risk to minorities, religious minority particularly, and also social. He has a wonderful book, Communal Deadlock and Way to Solve It. That book is not visible. The argument that he has presented in that book, how do we deal with the problem of minorities in India, if the majority became communal and not political, what are the solutions? He has given solution. And in abstract form, he has reflected in state and minority, but nobody listened to him. But now we can see the predictions of his forecast as to what will happen if the democracy becomes communal and it doesn't remain political. So the point that I don't want to go into the detail, but the point that I want to make is that Dr. Ambedkar's understanding the situation of each of the problem gave an alternative solution, the solution which will make the institution successful. In fact, in case of democracy, his title is Condition for Successful Working of the Democracy. Now, therefore, friends, I would request you that in your presentation, I know everybody has a temptation to say that this is what Ambedkar has said, this is what is the ideas of Dr. Ambedkar, and that is important. But please restrain yourself to the ideas, briefly mention the idea, but how that idea has been practiced. Has that idea been practiced or not? Because it is the practice and action which will contribute to the nation building, not the idea. Idea is important, but if idea is remain dormant, it is not accepted, then there is no impact. So focus on the influence of his idea on action and on policies. I give you an example, reorganization of the state. He wrote that book, gave his different scheme of the state. Nobody listened to him. But gradually all state reorganization is being done according to his book. Telangana, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, these were all done by him. Vidarbha, there is a demand. So it is being converted. His views are being gradually converted into nation building. And there are many other issues. So the first point that I would like to urge upon you, that focus on his practicality of his views. Wherever they have been accepted, where they have not been accepted, there also you should point out that how it is necessary. Friends, we have classified this into a couple of themes. I am not quite, I would say that we have covered everything. Now I realize that his views on defense are very necessary. He was the one member of the Defense Council. Vijay Khare would say something about it, but I think the defense is an area which has not been really mentioned here specifically. He will talk about the policy, foreign policy, defense policy and all that. But we have a very important thing. I'll take only 5 minutes. I think the first thing is the current debate on issue on what is nation and what is nationalism, and what is required to have a true nationalism. And there cannot be a better person than Aloysius, who much earlier wrote a book, Nation Without Nationalism. Then there is another book, then there are articles. I read them several times, very difficult language, but I could grasp it. He drew it from Rande Gandhi and Jinnah, he drew it from Darsan, Pakistan, he drew it from many other places, and also he drew it from the sociological theory. So he will speak to us on the idea of nation and nationalism and how it has applied to the Indian situation, to what extent it has been accepted by the constitution and how it is helping. And by not accepting whole of it, what are the price that we are paying. I think he will speak to us, and then doctrine of fraternity, Sheikh Sagar will share with us the concept of nation unity. Ajit Singh, wonderful discussion I had. I think he has really captured how Ambedkar developed instrument in the constitution whereby you can bring unity. People were talking about federalism. Ambedkar will snub them. It's a union of state. It is United States of India, and we have to bring them together, and there have to be instrument where we can bring them together. I think Singh has a much better idea. I talked to him, he will share with you. And then Directive principle, Dr. Ambedkar wanted to bring state socialism in the constitution. He could not, and therefore as an alternative he brought directive principle on Irish constitution. One khade we throw some light on that. How did he do that? Then we come to the other aspect, concept of judiciary. Then Ambedkar's views on uniform civil code. The debate is on, and Ambedkar has a view on that. Judiciary, of course, nobody had an idea what should be the judiciary of India. Dr. Ambedkar was asked in the Constitutional Assembly. Dr. Ambedkar explained that we will have a single judiciary, right from Tahsil to the Supreme Court, and brought a clarity. His contribution on democracy is very, very important. Narendra Kumar is sitting somewhere, I believe. He and Christopher Jefferley brought out a book, Ambedkar and Democracy. I have a very long forward to that, so he will share with us what is the idea of Dr. Ambedkar about political democracy, what are the conditions that are necessary to make democracy successful. Then there is the issue of language, which is being discussed today, and of course the state organization. Sudapai is not here, I believe, but Mishra, the co-author of that book, he will share with us. And then the question of minorities, of course, which is very, very important. Krishna Swami Dara will share with us, and then Rajshekhar Undu. I don't see him, but he should be able to hear. He has a book on electoral system in India, Gandhi, Patel and Nehru. A very powerful, very important book. He brought a new data in that. So he will share with us on the minority issue. Then what is important is that we have a wonderful lecture by Sori Sorabji. We are so thankful to him that despite his age, he has agreed to give a lecture on, not on Ambedkar contribution to India's development, but Ambedkar's Ambedkar's vision of India as reflected in the Indian Constitution through the effort of Dr. Ambedkar. And so he will bring out those aspects. Welcome Hargopal and Mrs. Hargopal. Come in the front, there is seat. It's come from all the way from Hyderabad. Then we are talking on the economic thoughts of Ambedkar, which are very important. I will speak on basically the theories of economic development, strategy of economic development, how it has influenced the India's economic policy, including the water and power policy. I have too many things to say, but we have only 20 minutes each. Tahide will talk about the fiscal and the public expenditure policy. He has written already, and he will tell us the practical aspect of it. Labor policy, we have Gautam Kamble. Then education, we have W. Gade, former Vice Chancellor of Pune University. Then we have Vijay Khare, who specializes on foreign policy and national defense and strategic policy. Then we have, of course, on caste issue. Unfortunately, we will miss Ghansham Shah. He has some teeth problems, so he is not able to come. But we have Amit Thorat, who has done some recent work on the practice of untouchability. Jedumani will share his views on the impact of Dr. Ambedkar's caste movement on the changes in the caste system. And then Buddhism. What's the impact of Buddhism on Indian constitutions? There is quite a lot of things there. So I requested Dharmachari Lokamitra, who is a scholar in his own capacity. I requested him to pull out the principle of Buddhism, which are reflected in Indian constitution and affected the constitution philosophy, and he will do it more effectively. Vidhu Verma will also speak on that. And then finally, Ambedkar's contribution to women. We know Hindu Code Bill, and there are two presentations. We have Smita Patil and we have Mary John. There are other people who will chair and co-chair. We have Raut here, and we have Alone and others who will also participate. I think I must say that we have a rich program, and we should be able to do justice to Dr. Ambedkar to bring out his influence on policy, which has changed the shape of India, whose views are even important today. And I am quite sure that it will be a very interesting discussion today. beside the lecture.